Hey everyone, so I'm going to put something right here on your screen so that you can understand the context of what prompted these reels today. So this one really resonated with me. I get a lot of DM messages. I get a lot of comments on my posts and my reels, and I totally resonate with so many of the things that are shared. But this one here really hit home for me, and I really think it's not just this person. It's how I was. It's how most people are, where I've talked in my past about something called the loop of doom. So as you can see by what this person has sent me, that they feel like they're in a loop. They feel like they're in a loop. They can't, have what they want. And they feel like they're like adding to it. They feel like they're actually feeding all of the problems that keep coming, more and more problems, right? And they just don't know how to get out of it. And I don't know, you might want to let me know in the comments if this is something that you feel or something you've gone through, or maybe you're going through it right now. But this is something that kept me stuck for years. This is something that I didn't understand and I didn't know. And I kept trying to do all the things that I thought were correct. And it never got me out of this loop until I understood what was really going on. So first of all, I want to break it down. So he's basically saying like every day is pretty well the same, and he's not able to have like what it is that he desires. And he feels there's an energetic connection where he feels like he's feeding this energy. He's feeding these problems, and the problems just keep getting worse and worse. And he has no idea how to get out of it. So this is something that has everything to do with energetics. It has everything to do with intention, where we place our thoughts, where we place our energy. And so we've heard that energy flows where attention goes. So if we're focusing on great things, we're focusing on positive things, and we're expecting that to be our experience, then that's okay. Grow that energy, expand that energy into our experience. But when we don't understand what's going on and we're focused on things that we don't like, this also grows and expands. And the more you focus on it because it's really pissing you off, or the more that you're looking at it because it's getting bigger and bigger and it's really starting to affect your moods, your emotions, and it's affecting your day-to-day, you're growing the beast because you're giving it more of your attention. And when you feed it with your intention, it's full of emotion. And the emotion isn't abundant. The emotion is in limitation. It's in lack. It's in scarcity. It's in fear. It's in frustration. So this is all low vibe. So all that we can call into our life is more experiences that will be exactly in the same ratio as low vibe. So where I want to start today is by showing all of you as to the process, why we keep creating things that we don't want, why do we feel like we're on Groundhog Day, why we see the patterns keep showing up in our life day after day, year after year, why do we feel like we're in that loop? And the reason we feel like we're in a loop is because we literally are. This is the loop of doom that I've spoke about, where what you focus on must grow and expand. You're focused on what you don't like, which is your circumstances or your conditions. So you're objectively being controlled by your circumstances. So your circumstances are not what you want. You have an emotion that's attached to the circumstance. You don't like it. You're frustrated. It's pissing you off. It's a negative feeling. You don't feel like anything's going in the way that you want it to go. So these are all low vibe feelings. These are low vibe emotions. So we cannot possibly bring in abundance, bring in joy, bring in more wealth, more happiness, more prosperity when we're operating from this frequency. So where the loop of doom comes into play is really through misunderstanding and ignorance. Right? So we're not taught the truth about money. We're not taught the truth about reality, or even the law of our own being for that matter. What we haven't taught is half-truths and mostly lies and misinformation. So we think from the conditioning that we received that we are human beings only living in a physical world. And so if you want anything more, you have to go get it. You are responsible for making it happen. There's no one else here who's going to help you. And because you live in a material world, you only think from that mindset. So you think about your body, how you can make things happen, the strategies that are necessary to make things happen. So what you're doing is you're forcing something to happen through the physical will and the pushing of the material world. Now, this might be hard for you to understand. Re-listen to that part again. We live in a material world and we think that's all there is. So we use physical, material things, including our body, to push things, to make things happen, because we don't understand that there is any other way to create something that we love. And that's what's kept us in this loop, because there is a way to create something else outside of your reality that you have currently. But you have to leave the five senses to do it. Senses means that if you are living in the physical world, in the material realm, and that's it, you can't create anything new there. You can only keep creating what is already existing. This is a new concept for some of you, but this is how we stay creating the loop of doom. We create the same thing over and over again, because what else are you looking at other than your circumstances? If you believe you're a physical being and you believe there's only the physical realm and you want more than what you currently have, where are you going to look for something new other than in the physical realm? Unless you know the truth of your reality and how it is manifested. So you're looking at your conditions, you're looking at your circumstances, and they are activating an emotion that is not positive. It's frustration. It's all lack and limited. So you're putting yourself on a frequency to stay in that limited and lack frequency, which means you call back into the loop exactly what you're giving your attention to. So on top of the fact that we're staring at our conditions, we're staring at our circumstances, and this activates within ourselves an emotion that is equal to what we're looking at. So this is how the loop keeps going, is because you're looking at your circumstances and you are literally creating more of those circumstances, because what creates or manifests our thoughts and our feelings. So when you look at something, you're thinking about it. When you feel something at what you're looking at and it's not pleasant, that's your thoughts and your feelings. You're manifesting more of the same. That's the loop. That's the loop. And then you got to take into consideration that 90% of your thoughts today are from your past. They have proven that scientifically, that we think 90% today from yesterday. So we're literally living in the past. We're creating over and over again what we thought about last week, last month, last year, our memories of our past. And those are what we're creating in our future, because that's what we think about. And then when you think about something, right away you have an emotion. And if you're not thinking about abundance and prosperity and happiness and health, you're thinking the opposite. So this is how the loop keeps going and going and going. So this is why, as in this DM that you're looking at, when he says it feels like I'm feeding it, it feels like it's growing, it feels like more and more things are going wrong. Well, the more you look at something and you don't like it, the more that you're going to create experiences that you don't like. That is the law of attraction. So you're looking at a circumstance and you don't like it. And unconsciously this is happening because you don't understand who you are. You don't understand that you are a multidimensional being and not just a physical being. So you are activating the spiritual side of yourself, the mental side of yourself, by creating pictures in your mind, seeing in your imagination what it is that you don't like. And the feelings activate that and just create the manifestation process, because feelings is what causes the emotion. Feeling is emotion, energy, emotion. So the feeling behind the thought is what activates it into manifestation. So then the guy mentions in here, I don't know what to do. Because the mind that you're currently working with is locked into the third dimension. It's locked into the belief system that there is only the physical world. And if I want anything new, it only can happen in the physical domain. So this is where you break the loop. This is where you understand a new way of being, which is your natural beingness. And it's where you manifest what you desire instead of manifesting what you don't want. So when you're in the third dimension, your consciousness, your attention, you're looking at your objective world, which is your conditions and your circumstances, and they are activating a feeling. So you don't like it, you're upset, you're frustrated. So this is creating the manifestation process for you to get more of the same. I hope you understand that. Where else can you create new that will give you something new, but it's not found in the physical world? Your imagination. You were given one because you're a creator. The imagination is in the fourth dimension, so it's outside the realm of your five physical senses. So we have to remember and begin to start to look at things outside of the five senses of our physical world if we want to create something new. So just like the physical world, you go into the mental world, you go into the imagination, you see pictures of what it is that you really want. These are your goals. These are your desires. This is how you would love your life to finally be. But there's a key point to this. You can't look at it. You got to look from it. because there is only the present moment. That's how the subconscious mind works. That's how the universe answers your questions, answers your prayers. So you have to think from the feeling of you already having this life. And the imagination allows you to do that, because you can think things in imagination, you can feel, you can smell, you can taste, you can touch, you can create any images you want in the imagination. And you can feel what it's like to be there in the imagination. So this is where you're creating what you desire. You're creating something new that's not found in the physical realm. And this is how you stop the loop of doom and exit the system's curse. Instead of thinking possibly that multi-dimensions means somewhere out there, because we've been programmed to believe linearly, we've been programmed to believe by time and space. What we really have to understand, if you understand quantum physics at all, is that everything is all here now. Everything is happening in the moment. There is no future or past. There's only now. So what that means is that you being in your imagination in the fourth dimension, you tapping into your soul and its purpose in the fifth dimension, you're not needing to go somewhere where time and space is involved. Your consciousness is going somewhere. The body doesn't go, the consciousness does. This is what remote viewing is all about. You move your consciousness. This is what astral projection is all about. So you have to understand that you move your consciousness, which is your thoughts, your feelings, to another place, which is in your imagination. And when you think and feel from that, it eventually becomes manifest into your physical world. All your job is to go into the mental realm, to think the pictures, the thoughts of what it is you want, and to feel what it's like to have it now. That is the hard work. That is the hard work that we are all meant to do in the manifestation process. None of this is physical work. Now, I only say hard work because it goes against what we were conditioned. Ideally, when you think of yourself when you were a child, or when you look at any child, no child struggles to live in their imagination. No child struggles to be in the moment, the present, and just live from who they're being. It's a natural way of being. It's as we grow into the system and get more and more conditioned out of our naturalness, is that we find it hard or difficult to actually use our imagination, to be able to close our eyes and see pictures when that is our natural state. But my point was that we are taught that the physical world and physical work is what gets you what you want. It doesn't. What gets you what you desire begins in the mental realm. It's where your imagination is. It's how you see pictures and choose what it is that you want, and then stay in the feeling of you already having it. The universe, this is where the how is none of our business. The universe, okay, or the universal subconscious mind, the universal mind, it is what puts everything together. It brings circumstances, people, things all together for your manifestation to come into third dimension. So the magic behind manifestation isn't even us. We don't do the manifestation. God does. Source does. The universe does. We give it a picture and a feeling. And then when we get that intuitive hit, when we get that idea that we need to do something, it's going to be foreign, it's going to be unfamiliar, but it makes sense that that's the next move to do in order for us to have what we want. That is our job in the physical realm. It's 1% physical, 99% mental. Yet we live and we breathe and we do things only 100% in the physical world. This is why we struggle to change anything in our world, to have a different life, to have more money, to be more happy, because we're doing it backwards. Now, why this doesn't work for people is because people are going against their conditioning. A lot of you watching me right now will think this is crazy. This makes no sense. Yet I would say that the people that are judging this information are the ones who are crazy, because you're probably working a full-time job. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. You've got some way of doing something every day, but your beliefs are by strategies, by working harder, by finding out the formula, doing the 5 steps. You're always looking at, how do I get it? What do I do? When that is not how we manifest what we desire. That keeps us having more of the same. So we create new by using our imagination. We also use our imagination to create the same. So what you have to understand is this universal intelligence, this life force power that moves to and through us and permeates everything, okay? It has to move through the mental and spiritual realm because we as physical beings are not the ones creating and manifesting. It is spirit, it is God, it is the universe, whatever you want to call it. But we, our ego, thinks that we are responsible for everything we have. So whatever you have or whatever you don't have, you are not responsible for that. Spirit is. It just listens to us through our thoughts and then creates what it is that we feel and think about all day long. This makes sense to you if you think about people like rich people who most people judge. They get very pissed off because they look at rich people and they say, well, these people aren't working hard. These people have all kinds of money and yet they're on vacations all the time. They're barely working. They are on their laptop on a beach. But see, they have tuned into the truth of reality and the law of their being. And they're using the effortless way, which was the way we were always meant to have heaven on earth. It's the rest of the world that was trained and conditioned to do it wrong, to do it in reverse, which means we'll get the opposite of what we were actually naturally aligned to. So no, rich people don't work hard. They work in a certain way. They're using their mind. They're trusting their intuition. They're getting better at who they are. They don't think about what can they get. They think about who can they become. It's all about who they're being, how much value they can bring to the world, because they know that you always will be rewarded with all that you give. That's the law of compensation. So the effortless way is not trying to work hard physically to get to somewhere you want to go. That's the slowest way, and that is the wrong way. Just like trading time for money. Money, you don't get a lot of money for trading your time for it. You're always capped. Money does not come through time or space. Money comes through attraction, through energetics, through who you're being. So I've answered this person's question as to why they were stuck, why they're in this loop, and how they are feeding through their energy, their focus, and their attention to keep creating more of the same. But if you noticed at the end of this post, he said that he felt he was ahead. He thought he was moving in the right direction. And then all of a sudden he felt like it was all going against him again. So what this means is when we push something, when we are doing something that's not embodied, it cannot be sustainable. So it can bring you closer to what you want through force, through will. But if it's not something that you naturally are, if it's not something that you've embodied, that you get up every day and you don't have to think about being, you are thinking from this identity all the time, then you're going to have it always go back to its gravity, to the center point. Does that make sense? So you have to really shift your identity. It can't be temporary. It can't be just to get something and then go back to some other version of you. If you truly want change, you create the identity, like I shared, in the imagination of the person who has what you desire. Then you must learn to live from that identity, their habits, their behaviors, their thinking processes, how they act in the third dimension, because this is how you bring it into the third dimension. So if we start to gain something and then we end up going back, a lot of people can probably resonate with this, because I've had a lot of clients that'll say, I'm on this big high and then I hit a big low. I'm on this big high and then I hit a big low. That's only because we're pushing it, we receive it, and then we go back into the old identity. Everything that we manifest is based on our frequency. So you can shift your frequency momentarily and become this higher version of you and start to act from that identity, and it'll bring you new results. But then if you allow the outside circumstances to unconsciously change you and shift you back into the old identity, this is why you see you go down again. It's when you've embodied it, it is you. You do not get changed. You don't get influenced by your external world. You live from your truth. And then you see that it's always like this. It's never up, down, up, down, up, down. So how you create a life of abundance, how you manifest the life that you want, how you can quantum leap and create an income leap, you can create a health leap, you can find your soulmate, whatever you want to do that is a quantum leap in your life or business can be done. What you need to understand is if you're going to live from the outside in, which is living from your circumstances and allowing them to control you and your emotions, you're doomed. You're going to stay exactly where you are. When you've understood this truth and you master yourself, you no longer let anything outside of you dictate how you think, how you feel, or what you want. No circumstance, no people, no friends, no family, no job, no teacher is going to say to you what you're worth and what you're capable of. Because you've now elevated yourself into that higher intelligence. You're in your imagination. What you think about, dream about, and see in that imagination is available to you. So you're unlimited. You can have whatever you desire as long as you're in harmony with it. It's for the greater good of you, and it's for the greater good of others. Living from the outside in is absolute limitation. Living from the inside out is limitless. The world is your oyster. You can literally have what you desire, but you must begin to learn to live from your inner world, and then you'll love what the outer world shapes into. So how you create a life of abundance, how you manifest the life that you want, how you can quantum leap and create an income leap, you can create a health leap, you can find your soulmate, whatever you want to do that is a quantum leap in your life or business can be done. What you need to understand is if you're going to live from the outside in, which is living from your circumstances and allowing them to control you and your emotions, you're doomed. You're going to stay exactly where you are. When you've understood this truth and you master yourself, you no longer let anything outside of you dictate how you think, how you feel, or what you want. No circumstance, no people, no friends, no family, no job, no teacher is going to say to you what you're worth and what you're capable of. Because you've now elevated yourself into that higher intelligence. You're in your imagination. What you think about, dream about, and see in that imagination is available to you. So you're unlimited. You can have whatever you desire as long as you're in harmony with it. It's for the greater good of you, and it's for the greater good of others. Living from the outside in is absolute limitation. Living from the inside out is limitless. The world is your oyster. You can literally have what you desire, but you must begin to learn to live from your inner world, and then you'll love what the outer world shapes into.